everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for Dragon Ball Super Episode 15. If you've not seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into Dragon Ball Super. Now, seeing as how the Battle of Gods, Super Saiyan God Goku versus God Beerus is finally over, it's finally time to get into what I like to call a super duper fillerific episode, which is basically what this episode is. It has nothing to do with the overall arching arcs of Dragon Ball Super of, Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, whatever the fuck the Champa guy's doing. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's basically just filler, and we have to deal with it. And I don't know how many times we're going to have to deal with these kind of filler episodes until we get into the more important stories, which is obviously the whole Frieza stuff that we've already, went through once. And I don't know how they're going to change it for the, the series, but it's going to be interesting. And then, of course, you have the Champa stuff, which, of course, will lead into Universe 6 stuff, and then so on and so forth. We don't know where, the show's going to end up past that. But that being said, this episode was pretty freaking interesting. It was definitely the definition of a filler episode. It had really nothing of any kind of worth to say other than just being a comedy. It was a comedic, just story of Goku. Now that he's done fighting, he has to go back to work as a farmer. You have Gohan, who's trying to take care of Adele now that she's pregnant with their future daughter and or son. I don't know. Maybe they'll change things up for Super. I know it's probably just going to end up being Pan again. I don't know. It depends on your personal perspective, because I know there's a lot of people who really don't like Pan. But that being said, and then you have freaking the rest of the gang just going back to their normal lives, just trying to, continue to do what they were doing prior to the Battle of Gods and Bulma's birthday and all the other wacky shit that happened with Beerus and everybody else. But then you have Hercule. And I don't know what's with, Toei Animation or Toriyama or whoever's been writing, each individual episode, but doesn't anybody find it kind of odd how this series in particular has an obsession with Hercule? Like, they just love dedicating so much time on him. And I know it was kind of coming. We already knew from the teasers of last week's episode that this episode would definitely be heavily influenced by Hercule. It's a Hercule filler episode, so there's no shocker there. I just find it kind of weird how they just dedicate so much time to a character that doesn't really need his own POV episode. And on top of that, there's so many other characters that definitely need more screen time than him that don't, there's Gohan, who needs probably the most screen time out of anybody to redeem himself after the fucking depressing defeat that he had in this show alone. Not to mention the other fucking movies that we will not get into. But it's just like, nah, let's just fucking let's see what Hercule's doing. It's like, whatever. But that being said, it was pretty fun and entertaining and funny. This episode was definitely hilarious. If there's one silver lining in this episode, it's definitely that this episode was hilarious. It was funny as hell, which I have to say kudos, because I really didn't care that much for this episode because A, it's a filler, and B, it's a Hercule episode. So it's not really anything that I really needed or really cared for, but it was freaking hilarious, so kudos for them. Also, it was pretty interesting to see Hercule's kind of point of view of, the Battle of God story arc. It's kind of like, hey, it's time to take the credit for, the thing I didn't do again kind of sequence that Hercule always apparently seems to want to do, retroactively, of course. And it was also kind of interesting to see his kind of flashback of what, in his head, or as how he's kind of presenting, which is like you have the really awkwardly weird, like very cartoony and horribly designed vampire Beerus with Super Saiyan Hercule, which once again, as I said last week, is the greatest thing I never wanted. I mean, Super Saiyan Hercule, Dragon Ball Super, thank you for doing stuff that I really didn't care for, but is awesome. It's like a meme in and of itself. I mean, come on, Super Saiyan Hercule, who really gives a shit if that's a thing? But thank you for doing it, I guess. First you make Fidel a Super Saiyan, now you made Hercule a Super Saiyan. Like, who the fuck else is gonna be? Is Chaozu gonna become a Super Saiyan? I don't know. Probably not. No one cares about Chaozu anymore. Is he even a real person? I thought he was just a Pokemon. But that being said, there's not really much else to go into. You have, a whole bunch of other characters coming into this scenario. You have these, like, weird, like, dog, like, lion kind of characters, alien characters that kind of come down. They drop down to Earth for various reasons unknown that don't really matter or add anything to the plot. I actually had a problem with them for a certain point in time because the sad thing is that I don't want to say it, but it's kind of true, is that this episode was kind of to the certain point, going over the line when it comes to being too ridiculous and too campy with the antagonist characters. Now, granted, these characters aren't really, meant to be anything other than comedic output. However, you could have done something interesting with them, and based off the teasers, or if you've watched the episode, you essentially know what's going down. They come in, they see Hercule as like this great warrior. He's, treated on Earth like as a golden god. Hell, they have a freaking golden statue of the fucking guy in, in the city. So, they challenge him to a duel and all that kind of crazy stuff. And Hercule's like, oh shit, what do I do? What do I do? Because he's a puss, and, he's a coward, which, when you think about it, it's kind of ironic, seeing as how, at this point juncture, you would think that Hercule would want, if he's gonna, like, pretend to be the savior of the universe, you would think he would try to actually train. I mean, I'm just saying, if I freaking was married and I was in with Goku and his friends, I would try to learn how to fucking train. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, the fucking guy, his son-in-law is Gohan. I mean, like, that would have been a way more interesting episode, which is just Gohan teaching Hercule how to fight. Like, that would have been a way better episode. And plus, it would have given Gohan something to do, because he has nothing to do. And why is he wearing glasses? Someone explain that to me. But anyways, back to my original point. I mean, the whole... those characters didn't really do anything for me. I thought they were going to be a little bit more menacing based off the teaser, because there was a teaser at a certain point where you had that really big, like, blue lion dog looking kind of dude, where he was like he had fiery eyes and he was like gonna fight Goku or some said shit. It's nothing as serious as that. It's way more comedic, and my problem with that is that even though they had some funny points in there, I felt like the dance was a little too much, because you know what? It kind of went over the line into, like, GT territory. And the last thing I want is Dragon Ball Super to be anything like GT. I already had the stupid idiot shit with GT, and that was terrible. I don't need it in Dragon Ball Super. Don't get me wrong, Dragon Ball in itself is a comedy. It's a comedy, it's family friendly. It's supposed to be not taken too seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a cartoon. Everything that's a cartoon, you're not supposed to take ultra seriously, unless it's like, an American thing, like freaking, a dramatic, cartoon and shit. But this is supposed to be a family-friendly, comedic, superhero kind of anime. But at the same time, it's like, you don't have to be that campy where you have your characters, like, dancing like idiots, That's just my little nitpicky kind of problem with it. The antagonists didn't really do it for me. They had nothing to add to the plot, and they were complete, like, idiots. They didn't really do anything. And, Goku, did he really have to be in this episode? I don't know. It was really weird. I just feel like if there was a filler episode that they should have put in between the Battle of God story arc and the Resurrection F stuff, I don't really think you should have let off with a Hercule, filler episode. I mean, you had me with the Gohan stuff. Like, I love those moments where Gohan was, like, cooking for Dell, and, he was trying to, like, keep her happy and safe because, she almost died last time. The last time, everyone found out she was pregnant, all that stuff. So, he's kind of like, he's being all freaking needy and stuff. That's the stuff that interests me, even though I wish he was still more of a badass, but that's an entirely different kind of topic. But that being said, I think it would have been more interesting just to do a Gohan and Videl episode. I mean, that's something I would want to watch. I mean, we don't really get to see a lot of Gohan Videl stuff in and of itself, and they're kind of like in their own special little world and stuff, because, they're developing their own family, they're doing their own things outside of the whole, saving the universe type shit with Goku and the rest of the gang. But it just would have been nice to have their moments, go off and do their own thing. But that being said, the final verdict for this episode, even though it didn't add anything to the plot of Dragon Ball Super and didn't really do it for me, it was hilarious. It was a fun, entertaining, funny freaking episode, and that's the important part, because if there's one thing that Dragon Ball should always do, if it's not going to give you hardcore action or amazing stories, it has to be fun and entertaining to watch, and it has to be, at the end of the day, funny. And that's what this episode did. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Decent episode, definitely over average. I don't think it was the best thing to start with the filler episodes with a Hercule episode. I would have wanted a more Gohan-esque kind of episode, but that's just me. But that's pretty much it. That's the end of Dragon Ball Super episode 15. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that kind of go in there, but there's not really that much time spent with those kind of people to really talk about. I mean, like, you have Gohan doing his thing with Videl, you have Goku and Chi-Chi bitching at each other because, he can't fight anymore. I mean, like, he just did the whole God battle thing, so he's kind of like in the doghouse, which is hilarious, especially that ending, freaking hilarious. Vegeta, he's somewhere. And then you have, like, Piccolo having, I mean, come on, that was just, this episode was hilarious. I just love all those little tiny moments. They were awesome. Although, when I first saw that spaceship, I thought it was Jocko. I'm just saying, Jocko got to show up somewhere. When is Jocko showing up? Someone tell me, when is Jocko showing up? I want him to, you know what? Screw it. I want Toei Animation to make a spin-off series. Just make Jocko the Galactic Patrolman anime series. I want to see that shit. Let me know if anybody else feels the same. But that's pretty much it. Dragon Ball Super episode 15. I give it a 7 out of 10. What are your personal thoughts about it? Comment below. Let me know. What are your personal thoughts on Dragon Ball Super episode 15? What did you think about the filler episode? What did you think about Hercule and his battle against those dog, lion, blue creature thingy majigs? And then, the dog comes in, whatever. And then what are your personal thoughts on the future of Dragon Ball Super going onward? Your Resurrection stuff, Universe 6 stuff. More filler episodes that you would like to see. If there's another filler episode that I personally would like to see, I don't know, I guess I want to see more Gohan stuff. That's kind of like what my personal hopes are for filler, and yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I want to see a besties moment with Goku and Vegeta. I just want to see them, kind of like that filler episode back in Dragon Ball Z when Goku and Piccolo went to get their driver's license. I want another filler episode like that, except with Vegeta and Goku. They don't really get to do a lot of bro moments. I want to see something like that. I mean, I know it's stupid, but come on. I just want to see them, like, go out and, like, I don't know, learn something. I don't know, learn how to fly a plane. I don't know. They don't fucking do anything except for fight people. I'm just saying, I want to see some more entertaining, cool filler episodes like that. Not Hercule. I mean, I like Hercule, but, he's not my most favorited character. I don't know. I don't know what's their obsession, but, people seem to like it, and that's, if it gives us funny episodes like this, I guess it's alright. But that being said, let me know what your personal thoughts are in the comment section below. Also, with that being said, check out the manga of Dragon Ball Super. There's been a lot of really interesting developments with the manga side of Dragon Ball Super. Really interesting stuff to look forward to from here. I definitely can't wait to see how we transition. And the teaser for episode 16 definitely looks really badass. I mean, Whis is coming back to town, hanging out with Bulma. Vegeta is freaking out. Goku is freaking out. Maybe they're going to go off with Whis to train and finally become Super Saiyan God Super Saiyans, or Blue Super Saiyans, or Super Saiyan God 2. Whatever. It's whatever. They're gonna fucking train with Whis. It's inevitable. Maybe this is the episode where we get to figure out how that happens. Let me know what your personal thoughts are about that also in the comment section below. And what are your personal thoughts on Funimation ever getting the rights to Dragon Ball Super? I forgot to mention that in the beginning of this episode. But yeah, back in New York Comic Con, which recently ended, essentially they had a panel for Dragon Ball Z. And essentially they kind of just went out and said it flat out publicly that Funimation still doesn't have the rights to dub Dragon Ball Super. So unfortunately, as of now, we have to still deal with the Japanese version. I mean, I love both versions, but God, I want to see that English dub already. But let me know your personal thoughts about that also in the comment section below. But that being said, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chuck12. Subscribe to my channel. if you have not done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and this has been Jonk12.